Hi everyone, Silver Super 17 here. Let me prove as usual. I do not own this picture. I'm a pitcher. This is not a paid video, right? Okay. So here's the thing. I kind of just started to read something, trying to basically see. You know, I didn't know if I could basically read this online, but basically, do you not basically remember I made my Izuku Darkness series? And I basically based it off the game and then read a little bit about it. Yeah. I basically decided to go read the comics. I haven't read it that much. I probably because it's not basically like all going down. I have to literally switch to different page. So it's being a pain in the pain in the butt to read. So yeah. So I kind of decided to just have some things happen in this. There is gonna be a time skip, and then just a lot of stuff's gonna be probably on where the safe area is after the Goliath, but there's gonna be a lot of different things. So there's gonna be some things I'm added into it just because I was like talking because I wanted to basically put some other stuff different into this. So yeah. So let's just get this started. This is basically part 8, I think. And then yeah. Let's get going. This is What If I Was Isekai into Overlord, Part 8. So, last time, basically, when it basically became the Shadow Monarch, gained the title of it. Yeah. I basically have my Shadow Soldiers, and, basically, pretty good. So, Bell basically defended the Minotaur. At battle, Shadowtear and Narbrol basically just went out and look at certain things. Basically, trying to find out about how to use the current money and for some things, you can say. Or just in a sense, try to basically find armor that they can use or weapons better than what they have. Try to test them out. That's all. And, yeah, Game of Demon Lord became basically basically Shadow Monarch all in the same day. So we're basically, and I fell asleep. So basically, we're starting off this very weirdly. As soon as I open up my eyes, for some weird reason, the spider sense is going off like crazy, and then it's giving me a headache. I'm like, okay, what the? Why is this going off like crazy? So, I basically get out of the bed and I basically walk to the door and open it. I basically walk over to where then the room where everyone is, basically, like where we just eat and such. As I see everyone there. But for some reason, the spider sense is going even basically, say, more frequent, more rapid, and it even gave me a headache, which I basically hold my head because it feels like my head's about to explode. As I basically then just, I basically feel someone's hugging me, basically, and I look up and it's Albedo. She looks worried and basically doesn't know what's going on. She asks, "Zero, are you okay?" Which I'm confused. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just my head's killing me." So, Albedo, is everything alright with you? She goes, "What? Why? Why are you asking?" He's like, "Normally you don't really, how should I say this without being mean? You really wouldn't have come over and run towards me and hug me. I mean, you look at a distance and ask. Normally it would probably be Shaftir who would have done that since she's my familiar." Which, she basically, she stops, basically, holding me, basically backs up a bit. She goes, "Why wouldn't I?" And I'm like, "Huh?" She goes, again, she repeats, "Why wouldn't I basically be worried about you? We're together." And I'm like, thinking, bruh. I literally would be thinking that in my head. if you guys don't want to know why I said that, it's just, I basically heard some people said it so much, it became part of my vocabulary, but it's just like, I just basically even seen like some stuff when it's just like one of those moments you just say it, it's just, yeah. So I'm like, together, you mean like, together, but she goes, uh-huh. Immediately summon out freaking one of the pistols, probably one of them from Evan and Ivory, or basically Castle from, Castle from Alucard. Immediately just shoot her. And basically, before her body hits the ground, it just turns into basically mist. And I'm like, yep. Nice try, darkness. Nice try. Which all of a sudden, everyone else is leaving besides Belle, as then Belle just starts laughing. He doesn't sound like himself. And basically all I hear is like, well, aren't you smart? Which I'm like, so, I finally meet the entity called the Darkness. Well, taking a human form at least shouldn't be surprising. Basically, I go over and sit down across from him. Well, it. He basically just look at me and just starts smiling. He goes, you seem a lot smarter than Jackie Estacado. I didn't think someone like you would have been this smart. I'm like, I just look at him like, you don't even know what the heck I am or who I am. So cut the bullshit. Which, he just basically stops smiling and he goes like, yes, for some reason it took me longer to get to you than Jackie. Which I'm like, huh? What do you mean by that? Isn't he still around? Yeah, basically lean on the table as he, basically the darkness just growls and he goes like, of course he is, but for some reason, you have my power. Or should I say his power? I'm like, oh, right. Everything I know becomes a skill for me. As basically I just kind of looking at him like, so what? It's a problem because that power you have, even though it's Jackie's and mine, I have no control over it. I'm like, I look at the darkness in Belle's form. Basically, I'm like, so you're just mad that I actually can use it. Use your power without you controlling me, messing with my mind, telling me what to do? He goes, exactly! And I'm like, looking at it because I'm just looking at it like with the least interest. I don't know why. It just like, it's like not my fault. I just know it, so I have the skills and stuff. But I don't have it. They're like, listen here, darkness. I don't have your power. Probably somewhere deep inside of me that I have to unlock. He was like, no. It just suddenly formed. I don't get how. I don't even get it. But it's growing. You need to die. And I'm going to... As before he even says anything, I just literally just say, so, question. You're supposed to be the evil of all evil. The being, basically, that has no... basically, no compassion. All blood and ruthless. Immense hate. As it goes, yes. Why are you asking? He goes, can you feel fear? Which the darkness just starts laughing. Which I'm not even, fazed by. He goes like, of course not. I don't fear nothing. Uh-huh. But the light. Well, as soon as I said that, because the darkness was grinning when after he said that, but now he just like stops. He goes, what? The light. You're afraid of the light because, your power could weaken into Angelus and all that. Makes sense. But quick question, though. He basically just looks at me. I do kind of see Belle's form a little bit sweating. I'm like, you ever heard of the Shadow Monarch? As then, it just... Suddenly, the darkness is like, basically the form of Belle's like, kind of gets a little paler than usual, and then I'm like, or no. Which, suddenly, just... I would think it's just like, I'm just like, just having those beings, hearing their names, it probably would have known about them. The darkness is on a whole different level, I know. But the fact is, I mean, they're basically from, I don't think the same universes. Marvel, like, basically crossover, basically, yes, but not the same universe. So, in a sense, we can say no is the darkness in there, in basically that, in basically Marvel's universe, or, you know, basically above. I may be wrong. I'm just speculating. I'm not trying to say, you know, I am right. I'm just trying to basically, I'm just trying to do what I think is what I would actually do if I basically, you know, and like, yeah, combine all that together to one person. Imagine basically all that power. Plus, he basically is immune to light, aka the sun, which the darkness just looks at me and be like, what did you say? And he goes like, I have enough time talking to you. And I immediately pull the gun and I'm like, see you around, darkness. I just shoot basically right in the head. And then all of a sudden I wake up. I'm like, I basically just touched my forehead with my right hand. I'm like, okay, word of advice. Just shoot first. Basically, when I look at my hand, I did notice something was off. Basically, I see my whole entire arm being covered. I'm like, what the? I was basically going to the skills, and immediately, no, I don't go into the skills. As the skill list, or skill tree immediately pops up called the darkness. I'm like, what? As all of a sudden, I just see it growing. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I know this is the darkness armor and stuff, but then all of a sudden, two heads basically pop out. Yes, because I know the games. Two heads pop out. As they say, they look at each other and they say, try to, you know, basically growl at each other. I'm like, hey, it's too early in the morning for this crap. I'm already dealing with basically another entity I have to deal with. So no. As they say, they just look at me and go like, we're sorry, master. I'm like, okay, telepathic talking to my head, great. What's next? Oh man, it's too early for this shit. As basically, they're like, master. At least one of them goes like, master. Are you alright? I'm like, yeah, I just had to talk with the darkness. Anyways, how the heck are these skills activating on their own? And they are taking some of my EP points? But still? Like, it's basically the one that was on the left says, it's quite simple. Basically, the darkness force awakened the power since he basically sensed it dormant within you. So, when he was trying to make contact with you while you were sleeping, it activated. And the skills are unlocking on their own. I'm like, great. Great. So now I'm null with the king of all symbiotes. I mean, technically, I do have to have my face. I kind of go to the symbiotes list, and it's null, but then symbiotes, basically, and their own little upgrades appearing. And I have all these other upgrades too. Man, this is just one big skill tree. Which I'm basically, the one the red goes like, to be fair, you're becoming the very first symbiote. So, in a sense, you're becoming the, you know, like, yeah, to be fair, I didn't even ask him for that. I mean, it would make sense if basically I got basically a Venom suit and then just, or basically any type of symbiote and then just get my own skills to it, but no, I had to get the freaking king of them and I could basically turn to any one of them. But at least I have my own basically other skills for them to basically customize, which basically vote for them not. I'm like, so what about you two? You guys got any name? Which they just look at each other and be like, we are basically created by the system, a copy of basically Jackie Estacado's power from basically the games. We do not have any names. And basically I'm like, Rex, Mark. I just saw them right away. I'll change them later. Which they just nod. Like, okay, now just going. I mean, I kind of know basically some of the details from the comics about the armor and stuff, where it basically gives me more speed, more durability, more basically endurance, basically all that crap. Just too early for this crap. Basically, the armor is the superior, and I'm like, the heads just appear. I'm like, and let me guess, you can talk to me telepathically still. And they're like, yes. I'm like, great. As I'm just walking in, as basically into the room where everyone's at, and they just look at me. I bet it goes like, "What's wrong with you?" A little bit worried, but not that. Doesn't look that worried. I'm like, "Oh, thank God, this is not just some stupid dream again with the darkness." Which they're like, "Huh? Just some entity from another dimension." I just say, just the bottom of all evil. I had to deal with that thing, and I basically shot it. Which they're just like, whichever just looks at me like, "Huh?" I'm like, yeah. By the way, Asura's Wrath demigod. Um, he a half basically demon. That's a ice demon and fire demon. As I'm just looking at the three, basically shout here about a Narble about it, and yeah. So that's your explanation of all you need to know for right now about that stuff. But man, I am tired of stuff happening to me, and I basically got powers that I didn't even want to get yet. Which are like, huh? As basically all of a sudden the darkness arm is appearing on, but for some reason I can see it since I basically do have for like null and the different symbiotes. Basically, it's like it looks also will be like null's armor that he has, but it's just mixing together darkness plus null. Which I'm like, wait, huh? How's this? I mean, wait, we're actually downstairs, so yeah, there's some dark areas, but still, there's light. How is this working? As the one of the heads basically says, because of your, tweaking that you have to these powers, and your immunity to sunlight as a vampire, Rex is saying it, we do technically have the same immunities of it. I'm like, well, great, that's great. Well, whatever. As basically the armor's disappearing, well, nulls, well, combined with the symbiote, I just literally look at everyone like, I didn't even try to get this, it just came up, just because of one entity was pissed. Which, Hesiod's like, how bad pissed? Literally, if you do not know the darkness, it's basically an entity that will literally mangle, torture, rip and tear you apart, reassemble you, make sure you are boiled alive, amongst other things that basically where it only inhabits people of the worst. And basically, I may have been on its freaking hit list now. Which everyone's like shocked. I'm like, yeah, I know. Basically, I think there's gonna be some type of minions coming around, gremlins or something. Basically, they're going to help, basically telepathically tell me stuff and take down any threats nearby. Maybe, I don't know. I just need to do something real quick. As basically, I just open up a Gate of Babylon, literally look through it, basically pull out basically a machine, and it literally just put it basically somewhere. Basically, the machine is a coffee machine, coffee maker. Basically, just like get the coffee grinds and stuff, and like, I don't know why it's even holding food, but hey, who cares? So it's just like, take that and literally get something to power it. Just have a cup of coffee. Which they're like, everyone's just looking at me like, I don't want to deal with this crap today. I just want to relax. Just one of those days. So, I mean, shout to her, like, are you okay, Zero? I mean, are you going to the dungeon? Like, no. I'm going to train myself to see how much power I have, and I need to ask Albedo for help. Which Albedo heard me go, like, training to basically, to see what I can do because of this new powers I have. Ugh. But I mean, this isn't coming handy for basically scouting information and crap like that. Which they just look at me and I'll explain everything, I guess, more in detailed. So basically, after I have my coffee, I basically show them the Darkness comic as they read it. As they kind of understand. I mean, they didn't read a lot of it. It's probably like 1 to 3 book with comics. Then I basically give them basically a list from of what the powers are. Which, yeah. I'm like, to be fair, there's more being made, actually. They're like, huh? I was like, you look into the skill tree? Yeah. And for some reason, it's... Seems like it's... seems like there's over... Wait, can you tell me how many they are, system? Which basically is like... I would say about each... These, there's only like maybe... The highest ones I have were probably only like 25 skills. Basically to unlock. For the darkness, I have about maybe 120. And it's still growing a bit. I'm like, yep. Combined with both games and then based on the knowledge of the comics, it makes sense. Just... Oh, God. This was one power I did not want to get. But unfortunately, because of one entity, I have to get it. Now the Angels is going to be after me, too. Basically, then just... Mark basically says, Master, we are basically made from that universe, yes, but we're not technically from it. I'm like, so the darkness... So the darkness is not basically influencing any of these powers just because I know it, or because that universe has... Because of Jackie Escow, he has it, I'm basically going to have it. But he goes, yes. So, in a sense, I am basically... Not going to be haunted by the Angeles? Maybe. I'm like, of course. So, yeah. So, basically, after a little bit of chatting, Bell basically goes and gets his armor, and everything. Me. Alright, Alberto. So, let's go outside and basically test this out, okay? She does nod, and we go, and we're like, hand-to-hand combat first, if you can do it at least. She goes, she kind of smirks. She was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take it easy on you. I'm like, what you say I'll take it easy on you? She goes, no, I won't. And I'm like, oh. You still hate me? She goes, oh, I don't hate you. I just want to test out what you can do. I'm like, thinking to myself, yeah, right, you probably want to kill me. Because I may be a threat to Ainz. So, in a sense, though, that hurts me slightly, but not by much. I understand her character. So, in a sense, she basically dashes at me very quickly. I block, I throw a punch. She barely dodged it, and it just goes on like that, to the point where I basically just go a little bit too fast, because I was slowly adapting to her speed, and basically I hit her in the gut with basically my left fist, and then she gets sent flying a bit. I'm like, sorry about that. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Basically, I'm like, hey, wait, I guess I kind of just say, hey, Luna, I know it's early in the morning. She goes, oh, I know about the darkness. I was been trying to basically make sure he can't get into your mind, but he found a way how to, and yes, I know about the powers are locked, and they keep growing. Yes, there are basically seals. The seals or the restraints are basically keeping the power slightly weakened, but not by much. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, yeah, by the way, good morning to you, too. Just thank you. And basically, I just look over to Alberto. I'm like, are you good? You want to keep going? She basically gets up, basically holding her stomach a bit, but not basically shaking. She goes, alright. Now, let's have a little bit more fun. As then all of a sudden she starts using magic. I'm like, okay, now that is BS. I can't use magic that... Well, actually I can, but I just choose not to. And she goes, then don't complain. As I'm like, oh, you got to. As basically I try to, like, use... Well, basically bring out basically one of the guns that I already have. But because of the darkness, all of a sudden, basically a pistol comes in my hand that was made for me. I basically shoot the magic energy that was coming at me, and it does destroy it. I'm like, I forgot to do that. Which she's like, okay, so you basically have swords. Basically, like, switch into any of the swords you already have, along with basically your dagger, and then another dagger you just have normally. Now, basically, you also have a suit that you can have with aliens, or basically called symbiotes, that basically you can turn into because you became the Cane. I'm like, yep. And you basically have spider and demonic, vampiric. And like, yep. And then basically you basically became a small demon lord, as you told us. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You can shout out Monarch, and now you have this. I'm like, to be fair, I was at the gates of Babylon. She goes, that too. I'm like, I mean, it's not that bad. She goes, not bad, not bad. I mean, if you basically learn any magic, you know how terrifying that will be? I'm like, I do know some magical spells, like Firebolt, basically. Um, but it's not that bad. She was like, I just hope. I'm like, hey myself, if only she knew. Because, I mean, I think to myself, there was that one spell called Ragnarok. Or is that basically a freaking... Is that a card in Yu-Gi-Oh? Eh. So, yeah, we basically did that. Belle does meet Welf. Welf and Belle do basically go into the dungeon. Everything happens the same for them. And, well... I basically... Belle also already got Argonaut. So, I mean, I have it too. And because I unlocked it and such. But I'm gonna say while Belle and Welf and Lily are basically in the dungeon, basically. No wait, I don't know. I'm saying it's like the day when they basically are making the blade, the Minotaur's dagger for Belle. As basically I just ask, you want to basically go and, just walk around. So basically Hestia's working, me, Marvel, or Nabe, Shoutier, and Albedo go walking around. As basically Albedo just sighing. Like, he basically took me on, and I basically was seeing a lot of the punch, and I'm like, yeah, you really hurt me a lot too. Ugh. Man, that electric shock hurts. Especially when Nave did it. It's good that I always dodge. Basically, which basically Shoutier's like, yep. And basically, how did it feel? I know I was trying to go easy on you, Master, but still, I meant zero. And I'm like, listen, next time, just don't aim for the gut, please. I felt like basically it was piercing me all the way to basically my spine. She goes, sorry. I'm like, don't apologize. I said to come at me with intention to kill for all of you when we started training. Basically, Nave basically says, to be fair, you guys have shown quite a lot of improvement. I didn't expect you to basically become this fast. I'm like, yeah. I'm basically in solo leveling standards. I'm basically level 240. We're level 2 here. And basically, I have all these other abilities that make me more faster than the speed, than everything. And basically, I look at Belle, I'm like, also, you forgot about Sonic's powers. She goes, I knew I was forgetting something. And I just chuckle. She just sighs. Like, the next time I kind of just noticed, I'm like, wait. As I just turn around to start walking backwards when I'm looking at Belle, how come you act so differently when you're with me and basically Nave and Shaltir than when you are in the Tomb of Nazareth? In the Tomb of Nazareth, you're way more basically refined and more, not basically, you're controlled only with a few episodes where you're basically not controlled when it comes to Ainz. And your fights with Shaftir. Which, she just thinks about it like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're here? Your presence or something? And like, huh? My presence? Which Nave just nods. She goes, yes. For some reason, we seem to be more different when we're around you instead of everyone in Nazareth. It's like we can be something else that we didn't think we can become, which Shoutier agrees. She goes, also, by the way, Zero, can we buy me an umbrella? I'm like, you just want to basically have it for obvious reasons. Besides the sun, you just feel better with it. She just nods. I'm like, fine. As I turn around, because I just kind of just say, well, I'm not even looking at them. I'm like, my presence could have made it that way. Maybe it's because we just came here, you feel more different. And besides, you have to act different too, but maybe this is something about your basically creators and your, something deep down in your program you didn't even know. I mean, not program. Deep down inside of you didn't even know you even had yet. Which they just kind of wondered at. So I would say while we're walking around, if we do find an umbrella for Shoutier, I buy it. As then, basically, when we're just walking, I do kind of basically hear like, well, I didn't expect this to even happen. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, basically I hear, oh, come on. You didn't really think I wouldn't have come around? You have chaos energy. You have Sonic's abilities. And a little bit of shadows. And my eyes just want him like Fleetway Supersonic. Like, ding, ding, ding. Listen, I'm not here to do nothing. I can't win against you anyways. So look, I just want to say this. If you don't basically, I should say, don't basically try to not be in danger and you actually are in danger and you're knocked out, the Ghost Rider or the Spirit of Vengeance may not take over, maybe me. So be wary of that. Alright, bye. As it just leaves, I'm like, not, as Fleetway leaves, I'm like, Fleetway Supersonic. Ugh. Just more crap I gotta deal with. Which I'm just having that face of irritation. Which they just, which basically Nabe asked, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, I just have to deal with someone. And again, something different. Which she goes like, what now? Like, there's a side effect to be having chaos energy when you're Sonic the Hedgehog. Which they're like, huh? So I kind of explained the whole entire Fleetway stuff. And it's kind of just like in the group, so not many people can hear us. Which basically, that's just like, to them, that's like shocking. So I'm like, yep, pretty much. Anyways, wait. As I just look around, like, we're at Hephaestus' shop? Well, we're like, basically, yeah, Familia? Which all of a sudden, technically we look and Hephaestus walking out, she sees us. She was like, oh, you're here. I didn't expect you to even be here. I'm like, basically shout to her, like, we were just walking and then we just got here. Narbro and Nabel nods. I'm like, yeah, just randomly walking around. She goes, really? I'm like, yep. Sorry about that, then, if you're basically expecting for us to ask for something. She goes, well, not really. But hey, I got a question to ask you, Zero. I'm like, yeah? Why do you basically, how should I say, do what you do? I'm like, huh? What do you mean? She goes, she just looks at me with that look. I'm like, oh, that. Well, I do what I do because I can. And I want to have a good life. In a way, I didn't have one basically beforehand, so I chose to have one this time. It's nothing really special. Just want to live. And basically have, you say, an adventure? Ironically. It's also selfish. So, I'm not saying I'm good or bad or anything. I'm not trying to become a hero, but I'm also not trying to basically be Mr. Evil mastermind planner. You know? And she goes, sort of. But what's with the blacksmith abilities? I'm like, oh, the skills I have? Yeah, pretty. I haven't really made anything since. I probably can, but I just need. I basically rather, I have unlimited materials. I rather basically at least be taught by somebody further into it. She goes, really? I'm like, yep. So, then you want to basically help with that? She's like, maybe. Why are you asking? I'm like, well, because I basically can, as you know, make some clones to help. So, she goes, oh, yeah, I'm willing to teach you a few things. Basically, I make like at least 5 of them, and like, go with her. Which like, right, boss. So basically, there's, go to, if that's the sign, like, where you going somewhere? She goes, no. But I think I can basically, I really don't have nothing to do today, so I'll take your clones and basically start teaching them. See ya. I say that she walks off with them. Which I'm like, well, that worked out. Which, Charlotte's like, so we just walked randomly, and then you just asked a god to teach you blacksmithing, even though you have the skills for him. Like, to be fair, I really don't have much knowledge on it, but I'm able to basically at least understand the properties of basically forging. She goes, oh, so if you get the skills from it and the knowledge of it, yep, pretty much, I'll be able to do it. Hold up. As then I kind of look through, because I have Iron Man's intelligence, because of this, why not? So basically, I just get all of basically Batman's skills, intelligence, basically combat prowess, and then just Doom's. Dr. Doom's basically intelligence, just increasing that and all. I'm like, okay, does this, So I basically just give a message to Sun Jin Woo, as he basically goes, yeah, no, dude, I mean, you're gonna have to basically do it yourself on increasing that. And like, I just made it, it's just gonna be separate now. Like, okay, I put the okay mark. So, okay, text him, and I'm like, well, that's more interesting now, and way more easier to handle. Which is like, huh? It's just like, oh, nothing, just increase my intelligence, basically I can invent more stuff for us. But I'm trying to basically have futuristic technology into medieval age, as you know, so I need to have a lot of understandings of what I need to build. She goes, oh. So yeah, so basically after that, we walk around and such. It's basically, we kind of meet some people, and then we kind of run into a god, aka Loki, as I'm like looking at Loki, just meeting her for the first time. I'm like, oh, hello there. She's like, hi, who are you? I'm like, oh, name Zero. Nabe, Shoutir, and Abeto right behind me. They say hello. She goes, huh. Question, what family are you from? I go like, Hestia's. Which basically Loki just has a weird look and then starts laughing. I'm like, you don't like Hestia that much, do you? She goes, nope. I'm like, well, I can see why. She goes, huh? What do you mean? I'm like, it's nothing. Come on, let's get going. Which basically we're kind of just walking, and then basically Loki goes like, hey, I asked you a question you have to answer. And like, just looking at her, basically I look back at her, I'm like, why should I? He goes, because. Basically, I want to say just me walking, for some reason Loki gets this weird vibe. Like, she basically should just keep her mouth shut, basically vibe. I'm not even doing anything, it's just the pure presence. As I just looking at her, and I basically go like, no. I don't have to answer to nothing. Look. It's because I'm in the Hester Familia, and I basically say something, I can see why. Basically, everyone knows it. I just pat her on the shoulder, like, so have fun, goddess. Oh, and, god or goddess. Loki can basically change forms. Which Loki just blinks. And then I just basically saying, oh, and, Freya's meeting. Remember? Just walked away, which Loki's technically just in shock. She's like, because technically, every god was, Loki, even though I said basically they watched the whole entire fight with the copy of the Black Dragon, Loki did not even pay attention to it. So, yeah, because Loki was out. So I want to say this. We were just walking around, we usually meet a couple of people, and, we just did nothing that day besides just, walked around and, basically trying to think of some new stuff. The clones did poof away, which I got some basic knowledge. Actually, I got a lot of different knowledge on basically blacksmithing, which I'm like, yes, okay. At least I can create some stuff now. Whew! So just daggers. So yeah. In a sense, basically, we have then like Belle going to the second floor. And I do tell basically Beto, Shoutir, and Nabe that we're going to just stay on the not going to the dungeon again today, which they understand why. But before Belle left, I'm like, hey Belle. He's like, huh? What is it? Here. As I said, I just gave him like 2 to 3 health potions. He's like, what? Huh? He goes, you're gonna need that just in case. Alright? He just looks at me and goes like, how did you? He goes like, don't worry about it. Just come back safe, alright? Let's not make Goddess Hestia worry. right? Which he just nods and he goes, right, thanks. I just tell him no problem as he walks away. Which Hestia is like, you gave him 3 of those potions? Health potions. Able to heal wounds. But yeah, that should help him out. They may be red, but it does help. So I mean, I'm just walking away from her. She was like, "What's gonna happen?" I just literally just stop and look back at her. I'm like, "Goddess, I cannot tell you for that some things cannot change. All right, but he will be fine. Besides, I'll have I'll have Alberto, Shaltir, Nabe, and me get ready as soon as we gather our things. All right." Well, she just looks at me and just, she gets this sense of, I'm not, because not a little bit worried, but the sense of basically being calm. So she nods. So, basically, going back into the, church, like, all right, gang, let's get our stuff ready as soon as possible. Which basically Shaltir, Nave, and Alberto do the same, right. So we basically go get our gear on. And like in canon, Bell does basically have to go further down to the dungeon. But the thing is with his leg does. I mean, his leg gets healed by the HP potion, but they have a better time. They have to go further down because the increase of monsters. Wolf asked about the potion, which he said I gave them it. Well, gave it to him, which, yeah, he's actually kind of shocked. So we do have the other god. We have Hermes, and okay. So as I said, everything went into the canon. So basically, Bell and Wolf and everyone just going down. They're not gonna have any troubles, but they are gonna be knocked out because of not much magic. So yeah, basically, who's there is the same in canon. So Takamachi Kuzi, Takamikazuchi, Meech, his basically other companion Nazu, and then Hephaestus is there, along with basically two to three other people. I think it was just 2. But then it's Makoto, Chigusa, and Oka. Basically, as I explained everything, I just kind of so in a sense, someone was wounded, and then you decided to pass all of those monsters along to someone else. Which, basically, Oka is like, right, and we can, basically, I cannot basically apologize enough for what I've done. Which I kind of decided, be like, it's understandable. Survival of the finish, I want to save your friends. Which, basically, everyone just look at me, besides the 3 that are basically, besides the 3 that wouldn't. I'm like, what? It's true. No offense. I mean, if I had people that I was partners with, their safety is my first priority, no one else. So, yeah. So, basically, I mean, I kind of decided, look, I'm not saying if I knew them, I would have done exactly the same, but if I don't, and they're dying, yeah, it'll be on my head. Saying I could have basically done something else, but at the exact same time, what was I supposed to do? Let basically my comrades die? As everyone just doesn't look at me after that, but Takamichi Kuzi basically says, I can understand that, but still, I cannot apologize enough for what they have done, Hestia. Which Hestia would say everything in canon, and then basically about, Hermes coming in and basically saying, Asvi would, help. I mean, basically come with and such. And I'm like, well, don't we have to go down too? Albedo, Shaltir, and Nave, which they do not. I mean, basically, though, I do think Nazu and Mach, Mach, basically just looking at basically us 4, like, oh, I didn't meet you, basically. Mach would say, I'm like, oh, name 0. Basically, then Shaltir introduces herself, Nave does, along with basically Albedo. And basically Nazu was saying, well, here, take these. These should help. I'm like, HP potions, or health potions, be precise. Which she nods, which I think Alberta would actually about to scoff, but I think she would be noticing I'm not even looking at her. But, she just scoffs in her head, but not, actually out loud. Which I'm thinking, thought she was gonna scoff at this. I'm like, well, thanks. Basically, I just would put it at my side. She goes, no problem. Basically, Hephaestus says she can't really offer much. Basically, then Hermes wants to come with, and then, Hestia does. In which, basically, I could hear it, and I'm like, well, everyone heard it. Basically, we come over, I'm like, oh, yeah, Osvi, don't worry, we can handle this. Huh? I mean, she really looking at basically, like me, confusingly, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, we four could actually go down there by ourselves and actually get them back. Which Hestia, like, just realized she didn't have to put in a request, we could have just done it. She just sighs. I just look at her. I'm just like kind of grinning. She was like, "You knew this was gonna happen, didn't you, Zero?" And I'm like, "Yep, totally did." She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Why what? Why you didn't stop Bell or at least go with him?" I'm like, "Because." Because of why? Because this is giving me an excuse to go to the lower floors. Which Hermes is like, "Wait, so you knew this was gonna happen to Bell? You just let him go?" I'm like, "Totally." I mean, well, yeah, it's kind of obvious. Is it not? Which, he just looked at me along everyone else, I'm like, what? So basically, even Hesfest, basically Makoto just said, so you let one of your basically comrades go into the lower floors, basically knowing what's gonna happen, and even, I gave him HP potions. No offense, but these are still good, just the ones I have you actually heal you from a broken leg. Or a sprained ankle. Can't cure though, MP. Magic, basically. Which, they just look at me like, huh. And they're like, oh yeah, and I mean, we don't have to worry. I mean, the gods know who I am. Which, I just think Hermes, Takamichi, Mach, M-A... Meech? M-I-A-C-H? Yeah, I'm just gonna say Mach, basically. Just realize it, and Hermes is like, shh. Can't let the other non-people know. Now can we? But she's like, yeah. By the way, what's your level? Oh, I think, wait, Hestia, do you think it's about time we should actually tell everyone? She goes, you haven't been here that long. It's been like only a couple weeks. Not even a month. True. Our basically first week we were here, we got to level 2. Well, no, 2 weeks in, we got to level 2. Which basically Nabe and Beto and Shaltir nod. Which everyone just looking at us like, huh? And like, it's true. We just decided not to go to the lower floors just so no one got suspicious. I mean, I could have done it anytime I want. It's like a snap for me. I could actually probably go to the lowest floor if I wanted to, about maybe an hour or so to 2. But what's the fun in that? Which, like, I mean, I just think, like, basically, Oka would be like, you're lying. I'm like, really? As long as I just disappear from view and then basically appear, basically leaning, against his back. Basically, I'm like, am I really lying? Which his eyes just widen and basically just smirking. Which I bet was like, okay, nothing you're showing off. I'm like, right. Come on, let's get Bell. Don't bring no equipment, basically defend against the, basically, monsters that can shoot fire. We'll be fully protected. So, I mean, they just get their gear and stuff. Basically, I do look at Hermes. I mean, they're about to go get their gear. I look at Hermes. Oh yeah, get who you have in mind. The one at the pub with Mamma Mia. Which his eyes wide. You go, how do you? I'm like, I'm a man of many talents. Seeing, just predicting the future is actually one of my hobbies, you can say. I just kind of way, which, and when we're going a distance of away, shout cheer like, You just wanted to basically make him freak out, did you? I'm like, yeah, but no. Trying to predict the future is kind of one of the things I technically do. Try to plan for it, at least. Did that before I even came into, if all this stuff happened. I'm like, yep, with Luna and stuff. You basically shout through, like, wasn't that kind of frustrating for you, though? Always predicting the future? Basically, Albedo would ask, and like, oh, totally, it was. And why don't you even use the word totally again? Man, I kind of let my old personality, or basically my self, just show a lot more. Weird. Which are like, huh? Really? I use some phrases that make me sound old. I mean, you could call it. But yeah, you're right, it does. Which, basically, I mean, Nave just asks, but why do you say make you sound old? I mean, can't be that old. I'm over 20. I mean, they're kind of just blinking like, huh? Yeah, I was. It's not that worrisome about it. I mean, if anyone basically says it, doesn't like it, I mean, it's just how my vocabulary is, and I sometimes say it. And I basically said it around a lot with my friends. So, it's kind of, even when I was making videos, which I kind of like, videos? I'm like, I'll show you when I basically invent technology. Yeah, I mean, again, I would just be only talking to ourselves and stuff. But, yeah, basically, I am trying to put my personality into, basically, me in this what if. So, trying to show my personality through my character, that I'm put into the video, into this what if. So, yeah. And I do say that, and it is around my friends. Or whoever that know me very well. So yeah. Anyways, continuing. So yeah, that's everything. We've just been waiting there, and I think I would just be kind of like, would take out a few things from the gates of Babylon, like basically just some drinks, and give it to Beto, Shoutir, and Nave, which is just like, I guess we could say like water and such, which they actually don't understand. Like basically I show them twist this, and then which are like, huh. So they do so, and actually just convenient and portable. I'm like, yep, just water bottles basically, random no name brand water bottles with just because it's no label on it. So basically, by the time everyone's there, yeah, we're basically going, okay. So is everyone here? Where is she? She goes, basically not Hephaestus. Harmony says she's coming. Don't worry. And I'm like, good. As when she does come, I'm like, what's up? She should just kind of like look over at me and just, she would basically just ask, why are you coming? I'm like, don't let us fool you. We're stronger than we look. Now then, though, I must warn you, when we enter the dungeon, some things are going to be changing. A lot of things. I would not want any one of you to tell what's going to happen here. Especially you, Hermes. Which he's like, okay. I swear, basically, I'm like, hands up, both of them. He's like, okay, I swear on my name and basically my status of a god. I'm like, alright, as the, from I'm part of your familia, so you have a right to know. Where she basically nods, and I'm like, alright. What you're about to see is basically something that basically not many people's gonna know of. I'm not gonna hesitate to use this power because I want to get down there as quickly as we can for battle's sake. I don't know if basically he's gonna make it or not, so that's why I'm worrying. But, basically I look at Hester, she just nods, she goes like, he's still alive. I'm like, yeah. So we're gonna be going in there quickly. If anyone have a problem running, just let me know. I'll have someone carry you then. I bet'll. She goes, Are you good at, can you sense anything? Or, no, you're not one of those, you don't have that magical ability to sense. If there's anyone one of you does, which basically shouted to her saying, I do. Navi says, somewhat. I'm like, good. Basically though, when I look at better though, but I do have a job for you. Because, yes, what is it? It goes like, I basically just tell her, when we get to, like, the Minotaurs and stuff, we're gonna need you in the front. You're gonna have to basically, try to attack them as fast as you can, even killing them. I mean, you are the tank. Which, she does nod. So I'm like, alright, let's go. So when we get to the dungeon, as soon as we go to the first floor, we're just walking. And I go like, alright, boys, come on down and play. It's time to grind. As then all of a sudden, shadows start coming around, basically out of from my shadows, just walking, which everyone's freaking out besides Shoutir, Nave, and basically Albedo. Hestia's like, what are these? He goes, these are Shadow Warriors. Alright, go. Kill any monsters that get basically in your way. Which they do nod. And so basically they go, and also bring me back the crystals! Which basically they stop and put their fingers, gives the thumbs up. And I look at basically Igris and I'm like, go have your fun too. You need to level up. Which he does not and just goes running in. They say I'm like, just grinning. I look back and like, see? Told ya. Which are like, I would just kind of just chuckle like, so this is the Shadow Monarch. I'm like, yep. I love this. So yeah, we basically go through the dungeon. The crystals are we're getting like the crystals in the bag and stuff. The floors are being cleared off while we're just like running through it. Each floor is getting cleared and such until we get to like the 8th to... we go for like the 8th and 11th floor. My 12th floor, basically. It was a little bit hard. Some of my MP was going down slightly, but not by much. So I do kind of make the from the darkness the gremlins, I think, or goblins, mostly gremlins. As you guys correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I honestly try to remember the stuff I read on about the darkness. So yeah, basically I just create like 2 to 3 of them. I'm like, alright, go basically help out some of the shadow soldiers that are nearby. I just point to one that's basically fighting off basically a baby, like a dragon type one, as they nod. The same one Bell killed in one shot with Argonaut. Basically, they go do so and having some fun. Which they're like, yeah, let's F him up! Kill him! Basically, I'm like, those psychopaths. Gotta love them. Which basically just like, Hestia was like, you can create them? I'm like, darkness. The power of the darkness. He goes, right. As then all of a sudden one monster comes out from the ground, try to hit me. As then I kind of just sigh. Basically just grab his face and crushes it. And they immediately grab the crystal. Which everyone was just kind of shocked. I'm like, these fucking weaklings. Put it in the bag. As then all of a sudden, basically the two, Mark and Rex pop out. As basically more monsters came out of nowhere. As it, like the suit comes on and it's like, basically kind of like the symbiote, suddenly also comes a part of it. It just makes like the tendrils just shoot out more, basically making it way more dangerous, you could say. As I just also grab the crystals, and I'm like, So yeah, get more. Which I'm just looking at Abedo, Shoutir, and Nave as they basically take down their monsters. I'm like, man, this is actually really kind of efficient. As I do basically take out as long as I get to, and I'm just like, alright, gotta keep going, which everyone just nods. So yeah, we just kind of go through. Many people are thinking, note to self, don't mess with Hestia's Familia, and him. So yeah, basically just going through some monsters, the gremlins come back with the crystals on the shadow soldiers, and and Igris is there, like, alright, next war we're basically gonna have to basically go even quicker. You think you guys can handle it? And then the gremlins jump up, just suddenly jump onto Igris' shoulder, and they just point the thing, have the thumbs up, like, we can do it, boss! Don't worry! We're not gonna die that easily! We can't really die, we're like, okay, zip it please. Right. Chatterboxes. So we basically go through the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 17th floor we get to, basically, the boss floor. As I'm like, okay, we're near the boss floor. Whatever, just think whoever for this. As basically, we do have quite a couple of like bags full. I'm like, got a good haul today, huh? As I just kind of throw up the crystals, in one of the bags. That Shaltier has her bag full too, along with Albedo and Nave. Which everyone's just looking at us. I'm like, what? I mean, just Makoto, you're able to basically do all that, and you could have just gone through every floor by yourself. I'm like, yeah, a couple of these monsters are pretty strong. Like, huh? Like, hey, who basically has the Minotaur crystals? Which basically, Shaltier basically takes out three. She gives them to me. I'm like, none of the black smokes happen. I'm like, darn it. Thought I basically could revive them. Which they kind of just heard me said that. Which like, huh? I'm like, turn them into my shadow soldier. They'll still be the crystal in my hand, but they would have been like shadows. Yeah, let's just hope I could do this to basically one monster here. So we kind of just slide down into Goliath. I'm like, alright, what's going to happen here is simple. Goliath basically is going to come out, and me, Shaltier, and Albedo are going to fight it. Which, I think Hermit's like, okay. I know you basically are the special person that came here, but still, you're just level 2, you can't handle this. I mean, I just look at me like, seriously? You just saw what I did. Basically, all the Shadow Soldiers and those two gremlins just disappear, basically. I'm like, we got this. Besides, there's more to us than meet the eye besides levels. So basically, Zangetsu is still my hand, and basically Albedo basically goes, yes, do not doubt us. If you are a god. Shaltier just chuckles. She was like, yeah, Zero's basically one of a kind, along with us. Which Nave just says, of course he is. We are basically supposed to be his partners. And to make sure he doesn't feel lonely. Which I'm like, hey, no one needs to know that. Ugh, Eins. Which I just like have Poe just chuckles. And like, oh, come on, you basically like having company around. And he's just like, yeah. Let's just kill this thing. So basically Goliath appears. So let's just say this. The fight, it was just literally freaking Goliath getting beaten around. Like, basically, Shaltier punched it. Nave basically used magic and electrified it. Basically, Abeta cut one of his arms off. Me, just punch in the face, slice his other arm off. Basically, Nave just come around, hitting him with her sword, cutting right through basically a leg. Shaltier just grins and basically stabs, like, when she basically lunged for a stab, she basically cut right through the other leg. Abel just immediately basically uses magic and to basically though enhance her basically defense, and also basically then activated a cell to basically make an attack stronger. Actually, literally, hits basically the torso, which doesn't cut all the way somehow. Like, guess that's where the crystal is, huh? She goes, do you think you can handle it, Zero? I'm like, of course I can. As all of a sudden, I literally just, say, Zangetsu, any advices? Well, any advice for the both of you? He goes, do it. Huh? Oh yeah, Bunkai. He goes, yep. As then all of a sudden, I just literally just say, Bunkai, basically, and, Tenzel's on Getsu mode, and Hollow Mask. Get to that 10 showed. It basically. So, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I kind of basically just jumped up, basically shot a web, and just get to that 10 showed that way. Which basically did destroy it. When I land, I basically do take out the mask and see that I get little black smoke coming off of it. I'm like, no way. Okay. So I go over to it, I just say, arise. And it happens. Goliath basically starts to basically form. As then, when it basically forms, the crystal's still there, so I basically put it into my inventory. As I'm basically like, welcome to the team. Your name was Goliath. So, Kratos. No. Leonidas? Basically, Goliath just nods, and I'm like, good. Get into my shadow, I'm gonna need you later. I'm not gonna be able to summon you that much though. I'm sorry. As I just, just said, basically it just nods to that, and it just nods in general. So it gets into the shadow. As I just look over everyone, I'm like, well, come on, let's go. Which they're just like, don't worry. It's the respawn rate. Wait, actually, hold up. Basically, I say, hey Luna, since I've resurrected, does that mean basically like it won't basically be respawned? Where she goes, hold up, let me see. So basically, a few minutes change. You're like, yes, it won't be able to respawn. I'm like, oh crap, should I? She goes, no, we worked on it. Don't worry, it's gonna respawn exactly the same. It's just kind of time traveled it. Basically, you could say. He goes, huh? Basically, we about the past version there, so it just activated like it's dead and it'll respawn again. You have the crystal. Good luck. And like, thanks. Tell the other gods I said thank for once. They actually are useful besides trying to mess with me. She just chuckles. Like, I'll talk to you later. Well, I haven't seen you in a couple of days, so I'm like, yeah, I've been wondering about that. Why? She goes, no reason. I'm like, alright. See ya. Basically, get off the link. As everyone like, which has says like, so I'm like, don't worry, they kind of brought it back before we even fought it, so I still have it, but there's like another one there, so the previous version before we came here. So all good. Time travel works sometimes. Which day she decides we're gonna leave. So before we go, there's something that caught my eye. A gap opened in the wall, a crack. I'm like, hold up. They say go over to it, which everyone, Hurry's like, huh, that's new. Even basically has like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how should I say this? I heard a rumor about there was basically mercenaries that came down to the dungeon, and they couldn't get. They basically weren't even here that much. But there was always someone here basically to fight the boss, to fight Goliath. Which goes, huh? They called him the Boss Slayer. Believe it or not. Which has even everyone else is like, wait, what? Someone just stayed down here and kept constantly fighting off Goliath, and he goes, yep. So let's go over there. So basically we do, and what happens is, well, technically I go over there first, and I basically see through the crack there's like a door, basically, further in, and it's basically big enough for someone to walk through it. I'm like, what the? So we go over, and there's like, when I get through it, to the door, there's like a bigger, like, little opening. Hold up. So there's like a bigger opening, as then, basically it looks like a freaking, like, tavern / pub. And I'm like, wait, what? The Boss Tavern? What the? So I'm just walking towards the door, and when everyone else get there, they're just amazed by it. So I open up the door, and basically, I'm just looking around. See, everything's dusty, not many people. It looks like people haven't been there. There's like some marks and such, some old, like, basically daggers in the wood. It seems like everyone was celebrating before something happened. I'm like, huh? So, I walk around basically looking, and then basically when everyone else came in and started doing that, but I basically I was just like looking around until I basically am behind the counter with basically then I basically see something weird. A box. As if I basically take out basically grab the box and put it where on the counter is, and there's a note on it. I'm like, wait. Huh? So basically I'm like literally just like, what the? Like, why would someone leave a note here? Like, they suspected someone to even pick this up, I'm thinking. Which basically I hear Chrono just says, just read it already. I'm like, okay, jeez. So they say that's what I do. And it says, whoever finds this, these basically are rings of, you say, my old comrades. Each one of us had a ring for different things. And they have special powers. Hold up, let me just make sure. Alright, so basically, these are 4 rings for rings basically to have that certain magical abilities that we gain for our adventure. And, well, some things happened here that each one of us basically left or died. So, I kept these. And I won't be around long enough to basically give it to someone else. So I trust whoever finds this in the boss room of Goliath to... Well, actually, no, they wouldn't know, so to the giant monster of this floor, to basically use these with proper care and respect. Please. I mean, these meant a lot. And I can tell you each ring what they do. So basically, I look at the rings. Basically, there's a green ring, there's a pure black ring, there's a ring that looks like a chain, and there's one that has these animals on it. The black ring basically can turn into like any weapon, but it's made out of pure titanium, it says. The green ring has a special type of basically liquid, or, type of drink, that basically can give a buff for a short period of time. But there are certain effects to this. It's called Dragon Ale. Hold up. Yeah, basically you can have a drink called Dragon Ale, and it basically gives a recipe. And basically, the chain ring can make any chain, basically any size, to be big or small, long or short, basically. And the other ring, the one with the animals, can have basically certain animals basically appear, from elk, wolves, birds, and squirrels, basically. Each one has a different effect. The elk one can be used to basically run around and hit people. The wolf basically can go into basically combat or just track people down. The birds basically can be more of a basically recon. And I did kind of basically speak back or give a recording of something that's happened. Squirrels basically are just transporters of items and such. So yeah, basically the names of the rings basically is even there. Okay, Green Vow, Land Star, Regard Band, and Wooden Grace. Those are the names of the rings. Please keep them safe. As all of a sudden there's something that looks like a magical box that's playing not music but recordings of what's happened. So we kind of learned about this tavern. This place, all basically adventurers, or what they call themselves mercenaries, basically came to the dungeons. They could never get past this boss. But there was one person that kept fighting this boss every day. Anytime after he defeated it, he basically worked on the tavern down here for these people. To basically come in, basically relax and have a drink and basically, enjoy themselves. So people basically came, and basically there was a hero that went crazy, people got married, and it's just so much story basically was recorded onto it. It felt like hours went by, but it was only probably 20 minutes. At the end of it, we hear the final message of the person basically who owned, well, not the one who owned it. It was, well, seems like this will be my final day here. I'm getting old, getting worn out. That boss out there is gonna keep coming. But there's one thing I'm going to do. Fight it in my final battle. I don't know who's going to hear this, but please, never basically forget this place. If you do and you basically found this, tell people about it. Tell them the story of this place. Tell our adventures what happened here. Keep this place alive, the Boss Tavern. I thank you for that, whoever you are. And, well, you all basically, whoever in the future is watching this, thank you. As the message ends. And everyone's just looking around, amazed, saddened, shocked. Me. Well, that's something, huh? basically, they all just look at me like, seems like this place really meant a lot to someone. It's a shame that basically no one's gonna, no one's gonna want to come here. Which Hestia does not. Basically, I say, hey, Raphael. Which Raphael goes like, yes, I already know. You wonder if we can basically storage it. I'm like, yeah. Can we? We can, basically in the storage stomach. We don't really use it much for anything else. But we can hold it in. I'm like, seriously? Yes. Like, well, that's great. In which, basically, everyone's just leaving and such. And, like, basically, I put my hand on, at the door's closed, and I'm like, to whoever you are who basically own this place, I'm gonna basically bring it back. I may make this place into a good home. Well, probably for people, and basically make this into a shop to sell. The Boss Tavern. If you like the name, I'll keep it. Welcome back. So, basically, though, I think everyone's confused besides, Nabe, Shatir, and Albedo. So, after that, we do leave, and then we do get down into the safe floor. So, everyone does start screaming and such. Bell does, hear it, and he does basically go, we'll be there when we get down. Basically, everyone was screaming. I'm just going like, this is fun, basically. Which, it's just like, everyone was like screaming out, I guess due because of how, let's just say this. When they were looking down, I just literally looked at basically Abedo, Shatir, and Nave, and just grinned. Like, huh? Basically, Shadow Clone due to the C-list, and just pushed everyone down, including Hestia. And that's why they were screaming. So I just jumped down, but the clones just pooped. Which I just heard the three just actually just sighed, but then just laughed. So they jumped too. So yeah. When we get down there, everyone just looks at me. I'm like, what? You guys were taking too long to decide who goes first. I just have a grin on my face, which Belle's like, how did you guys get here? And I'm like, oh, had an army to help us. No biggie. Which he's like, huh? Which Hestia just like, don't worry about it. But Belle! She runs over and hugs him, me just chuckling. And basically, right when we would see the Sword Princess, Eyes, Wallenstein. Which, I just look over at her, I'm like, huh. Hello there, Sword Princess. This is the first time we ever meet. The name's Zero. Which she looks over at me, I have my hand sticking out, which she basically doesn't, I can already tell for some reason she doesn't trust me, but she shakes my hand anyways. Which I'm thinking I have to be wary of her, huh? Basically, though, I would see Ryu looking at me, and I just kind of looking at her, I'm like, let me guess, do you have many questions? She goes, yes. I'm like, alright. But first, let's just relax. It didn't take that long to get down here, but still. Wait, how long did it take us to get down here? Because I hear Raphael saying, about an hour and 25 minutes. Really? She goes, to be fair, even though you were running, you weren't running as fast as you could. You were running for everyone else to keep up with you, though. I'm like, true. So, in a sense, yeah. Basically, we do meet. Hold up. Okay, give me a minute. We do meet Ravier, I'm not Bits, not there, Reiner, or Ryan, Tiana, Tiana, Tanya and Tina. So we meet them. Basically, we meet everyone there and such, including Al, basically, there. another elf there, which I'm like, sup? She's like, she just looks at me and just looks away. I'm like, huh. All of a sudden, I would just feel someone tap my shoulder. I'm like, hmm? So I basically see it's the sword princess. I'm like, hi. You need something? She goes, fight me. I'm like, huh? Which everyone was even shocked, even basically Ryan. I'm like, fight you? She goes, yes. I'm like, you sure? She does nod. I just kind of sigh. So, basically, I just grab the sword on my side, sword on my back, and then so it just changes when I basically get near my side to basically Yamato. I'm like, well, I gotta make it easy for you, sword princess. You better be ready. Basically, though, I kind of hear the one elf just kind of just scoffs at me. Belle's like, she's like level 6, I think she was in canon. Level 6 now? Level 4? No, wait, level 5? Something like that. Probably level 6. I think it was level 5, then 6 now. But, anyways. So, in a sense, we kind of go away from the camp of people. Everyone's seen it. And I'm like, I just kind of look at her. And she goes, are you not going to make the first move? You know, she says it in like emotionless tone. I'm like, looking at her, I'm like, no. So she goes, alright then, I will. So right when basically she moves, I can basically, I kind of can see it. Because honest and true, it's only level 2 basically from the Manchi out of 240. So it's like, and everything else now, it's kind of hard basically for me not to see her. So in a sense, as soon as she gets near me, all of a sudden, it's like both our blades clash. It looked like her blade was about to hit me, but also I just make my move basically to block, which her eyes wide. I'm like, what's wrong? Can't keep up. She basically jumps back, and I'm like, have the sword sword back into the sheath, and I'm like, all right then, let's see if you can handle this. As all of a sudden I disappear from her, and then basically I'm right behind her, but she then suddenly gets slash marks, and then all of a sudden I just turn around, hit her up in the air. Just kind of then just jump up in the air and just like do quick draws. They're basically, I'm not putting much power into it, but they're leaving these cut marks. And basically would just land, and I'm like, just suddenly, I just had the sword at my side. I'm like, the fight's already over. Just walking away, which everyone is shocked. Eyes is getting up. She's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, just looking at her, and she's like, how are you so strong? And I kind of just sigh, like, my strength, you can say it's kind of a cheat, if you want to call it. I basically, though, I'm trying to earn my strength by doing what I can, but I keep on constantly getting more stuff added to it. That's all. She goes, huh? What do you mean by a cheat? I just kind of sigh, you don't understand you don't understand, and you never will. Just walking away as she basically, I think she would kind of try to hit me. Well, I think she would just out of anger because, honest and true, I'm not, obviously I saying something about a cheat and I'm not saying what it's like, but I'm honestly trying not to tell her if I only gave her like a hint or something, she'll maybe never understand. Hold up. So basically, right when she would throw a magic attack out of pure anger, everyone's freaking out. Basically, Belle says, Zero! As they just see me just turn so fast and cut the wind. Well, I think it was just a magic attack. I just cut it, basically. As I'm like, just looking at her. Suddenly disappear, and basically right at her neck, she sees a sword. And I'm like, do that again, and I won't hesitate to kill you. Understand, sword princess? Which, I think her eyes are wide as I literally I don't even care who she is, what family she's from. Yeah, I honestly really wouldn't, so I literally just basically sheath the blade and just walk away. Suddenly the sword turns back into the Zangetsu form, and I basically put on my back. So I walk over, I was like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. Which Hestia was like, why do you tell her like that? I'm like, to be fair, it is sort of a cheat. I just look at the ring, I'm like, but still. I keep getting the stream because I basically earn it in a way. But I still kind of find it as a cheat, but it's a cheat that I need. I mean, I like it and all, but still. It's just like sometimes a little bit too much strength for me. Which she just kind of nods, but I just think about like you had to go basically that ruthless on her. Like I was holding back. And she looks at her basically going down on her knees, basically his eyes on her knees, is kind of like not hyperventilating but like freaking out basically, as she basically just looks at me and just smiles like, you really were gonna kill her, were you? Which Belle and Hestia were just looking at me as I'm just kind of just chuckle. Call it an act of mercy that I did. Yeah, so basically I just walked past, which Belle actually couldn't believe, like, just said, you were actually going to... You basically were attacking me in pure anger. You really think that this was a monster? If that monster survived and she basically was too angry, she wouldn't have died? But his eyes widened, and he goes like, I just basically showed her the same kindness a monster would. It's not like basically, it's not like she could ever hurt me. So yeah. Which Belle's about to say something, but Hestia stops him. She goes, you're right. And I don't agree with what you did, but she did tap you out of rage, and you weren't looking. And I do have some sense of honor, and that's one of the things I hate. When the fight's basically over and done with, even if the other person doesn't agree, you basically do a stab in the back, so to speak. That's just an insult. So that did kind of get me angry. And then I kind of just, look forward and just walk away. So, Shalltear, basically we know Shalltear and Nabe, which, my, Zero really can change a switch of a hat, Kenny, which Nabe nods. But she would just say, but an act of mercy. Isn't that what Lord Ainz would have said? Basically Nabe's kind of a different personality at the moment, which Shalltear's like, oh, are you actually trying to show basically more emotions than at normal for a change? She goes back to normal, she goes, shut it. Which basically Shalltear just chuckles, along with Nabe a bit. So in a sense though, Shalltear would nod. And she does say, but still, I'm kind of glad he didn't kill her. He's not Lord Ainz, he's him. But do you think he's doing a little bit too much? He needs to take a long break because of all this stuff's happening to him at once. Which Nabe would think about and just nod. He's constantly getting stronger because of these gods are gonna try to do some things that are gonna mess with him. I can understand why he's like this, but still. He needs to take a break for a bit. Shalltear would nod and goes like, well, let's go talk to him and try to help him relax. As she walks away with Nabe just nodding again. And he goes, so how are we gonna do it? Food? Music? Relaxation? I don't know. We'll try to figure out what he likes. Which she goes, good plan. Yeah, meanwhile with Freya, she basically was seeing everything and she goes, well then, Zero, it seems you are surprising me more and more every day. Maybe I really should ask basically Luna if I can keep an eye on you when you're not here. Yes, that would be nice. And maybe I should try to get to know you, Zero, on a personal level. As for some reason, with me, a shiver goes down my spine. I'll be like, okay, yeah, I feel like I may be in danger. A lot of danger. Oh no. And that's where we're going to leave it off, everyone. Hope you guys liked it. You guys have a nice day, night, wherever you are. Bye.